Run or Red Rummy or something like that.
Red rum, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
he would just sit there. Yeah, well, check it out. The other live, the one that just Toxic Trends posted. You know how they average about 55 minutes, 50 minutes around there. Well, when we had that live, I cut him off at about 10 minutes into the live, and I blocked him because I just said, I got real suspicious of him. So I blocked him, right? And guess what? That video is only 9 minutes. It cuts off right where I blocked him because I
Oh,
blocked him when Mateo was talking. Yes.
you found the
Did you
mole.
notice that? Huh?
You found the mole.
I think so. Because if you think about it, when do they ever make a 9 minute video of us? It's always
Never.
25 minutes, right? 55 minutes, whatever, right? Well, Mateo was still talking and it just cut off at 9 minutes and something seconds. And I remember that was when Mateo was talking during that segment is when I was going through the list and I go, wait, I'm always suspicious of this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Because he don't say nothing. He don't interact with the chat. He never leaves a comment. He never gives nothing. He just sits there. So when I blocked him, I made a mental note and I said, okay, you know what I mean? And when Toxic Trends only had 9 minutes of it, I was like,
Well, every time we
yeah.
see them, let's block them, and that way
See
they
what
don't have any
happens.
more content.
There you go. I mean, they'll make another account, but I'm just saying for now, I think it's going to be, just to take out one of their targets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know
Take
what
out one of
sucks
them.
about TikTok, and it would be nice to have that option, is like when you send people your invite, like they can come in, but like the mods would approve them coming into the live to see it. Like that would be a nice feature.
Yeah, that's a good feature, actually. Good idea.
Yeah. That is a good idea.
I
I got
patent
two
that
things to
shit. You
say real
can't take
quick.
it.
Sure, brother. Go ahead, brother.
Um,
Sure.
the first thing is they do have a feature like that. You have to do something specific to where you get it though. One of my friends from Palestine, they have it where like the whole panel will be silent. Everyone in the comments can't hear anything, but we can hear each other on the panel. So like it's a feature, it's just not rolled out entirely, I guess. But I was also gonna say we could falsify if we like think someone is toxic TikTok trends, we can falsify that by going back to their past videos. We could look through and see like, oh, did they ever comment under this account? Because if they did, if Redrum ever did comment in those videos, then it can't be them. You know what I mean? But also, they were a very
Yeah.
suspicious person.
Well, I mean, unless they had multiple devices.
Oh, they probably do.
Toxic Trends has never comment, right? And I
I've
noticed,
had
Yeah.
communication with them.
huh?
I've had interactions with that account where they've commented on they were commenting in Vanta Entertainment's live. There's somebody either from the syndicate or someone peripheral of the syndicate, like fucking that one white lady that was calling me white in that live just a second ago.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
them comment before too.
yeah, but that's their channel. But I'm talking about when they're screen recording us, right? The ones that make the cut
Yeah.
to YouTube, they don't interact. They just sitting there, and you notice they're always looking at the list of who's in here, who's in the live. They go through the list. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that if you're watching it.
Yeah.
And right, so I'm like, you know what? This motherfucker never comments, never says a damn word. So I was like, I'm gonna
And
block him, and I blocked him. I just did it. Boom, just
Hi,
blocked him.
Winterbell.
hey, Tika, can you give me mod powers or no?
That'll be $29.99.
I owe you, man. I'll do it next time.
I got it. Why you want her up here?
No, I was gonna invite someone else up.
Yeah, tell me who. I'll bring him up.
Invite George Bush's D.
What the fuck?
Jesus Christ.
I don't know who that is.
I saw the name. Where'd it go?
They're not in here.
Say your friend?
You got 6 in the hallway. I didn't know
Yeah,
people
Oh,
were
no.
that
They,
interested in maple donuts and bacon.
Yeah, but anyway, just real quick, just want to wrap this up. What I said is I blocked them, and when I was watching that video, I told myself, "Oh, watch it. It's not gonna be no fucking 30-minute video." It was only 9 minutes. They never make and me and Mateo was ranting too. We were ranting about all kinds of like shit like that they could have used. Usually they'll use it for content. That was it. Just 9 minutes of it. Right where pretty much around right where I blocked him. So yeah. So Toxic Trends, the joke's on you.
No mono, the joke's on you because you did not block me. And to prove I was still in the live after that point.
Facts, man. Make the content, bro. Shit. I'll share it. Make the content.
I'll probably steal it, bro, because that's what I do. I steal content.
Right.
I intentionally cut the video right there because your whining is so boring. No one wants to hear you and Mateo lie, whine, and gaslight. You're still attacking one of your revenge porn victims, and your disgusting pretendian band are helping to excuse your sick behavior. You need to worry about changing your behavior and not trying to figure out who I am.
Caught your little camera spy. Your little recorder.
When did the toxic trend start? Because last summer they weren't doing it, were they? I don't remember that.
We've been around almost 2 years, I think.
Really?
No, it's only been a few months.
Yeah, it hasn't been too long.
I mean, they've been recording for a while, but they haven't been around for that long.
Yeah.
No, you could see when the account was created on YouTube. It's only been like maybe a year.
8 months.
Lunar Bus.
Yeah, like 8 months. 8 months sounds right.
Yeah, that's
about 8 months. Yeah. And they became more relevant when they got a little exposure by the toxic gatekeepers. They were like literally promoting it. They were telling people, "Oh, look," and then they would play their videos on live, and they gave it a little traction. I don't know why they did that. And I was telling them, "Don't do it." I'm like, "Don't do that," and they were doing it, so they got a little traction by that.
Yeah, like their circles that they usually traffic in aren't interesting. So
Yeah. Anyway, but that's all I had to say about that. So it'll be interesting.
they might call me anti-black or call me racist or call me whatever, but at least they're interested. I know I'm interesting.
Right? I called their ass out the other day. They left me alone when it came to that. I called their ass out.
You called me out? I must have missed it.
I was like, or else what? Or else
That
what,
video was
motherfuckers?
they fucking try to report the sound to get it taken down.
Huh?
That video response I made to them, they reported the sound to try to take it down.
I just had to go and look. Nope, I never reported your video. I could care less.
What?
Yeah, so I just re-uploaded it and then fucking did a voice over their part where they were talking, so they can't say it's theirs.
Oh. Good. Good shit. I see what you're saying. Taking a little clip of their YouTube. Well, motherfuckers, if you don't like it, stop recording this. But it's gonna be interesting.
O tacos de bistec?
Yeah. What's that, bro?
What are we voting for?
The happy face
now,
is tacos
now
de
later.
bistec. The sad face is tacos del pastor.
Okay, we'll vote. What would you say, though, bro? He was saying something real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you were talking about like them trying to copyright strike your thing, Mateo. Is
Yeah.
that what you're talking about?
Yeah, they reported the sound.
Yeah. So, fun fact when it comes to copyright law, if you add something to it, they can't copyright strike you for it. It'll be extremely difficult, even if it's like something as small as a few words. If you add quote unquote value or whatever the legal term would have been, like if you add something creative at all, like
Yeah.
fucking-
You gotta have a creative like contribution. That's why I re-uploaded it, but the parts where it's just clipped of just their channel without my input, I just did a voiceover to that part so they can't claim it's fair use at that point.
Yeah, even then you could put up like one of your Photoshop Pokemon cards and like have their audio in the background or something. Like that, even that's enough, you know?
Yeah, I just talk shit. I just put the voiceover feature and just talk shit. I'm like, yeah, look at him here lying again. I got to talk right now because they're snitches.
Oh, I think I actually saw that one. Now I know what video you're talking about.
Fucking weirdos. They shared this video. This guy is like a white nationalist, right? And he looks like Michael Douglas when he was younger. All right, the fucking actor Michael Douglas. And so he's like a white tea nationalist, Michael Douglas, as if the actual Michael Douglas isn't also a white tea nationalist, right? Um, and I commented on their video. I go, oh, so I see that you've discovered YT nationalist Michael Douglas, huh? I was like, if you weren't so hyper fixated on native TikTok, you would be aware that these kind of guys are running wild. Because like, you know, I get accused of only focusing on Wabos because they're black or whatever, but I'm way all up in fucking far right YT supremacist TikTok too, you know. And I got just as many enemies among those motherfuckers. Particular one called
Same.
American Lowlife, right? That guy like is threatening to unalive me all the times, right? But anyways, like you can tell that this is like a new discovery for them. Like you don't know about this guy. He's been around for a while. You just never mentioned him because you only focus on native TikTok, right? And like Mexican TikTok or Latino TikTok, right? Because they give the white people a straight up pass.
I get what you're saying. I understand where a lot of natives come from by focusing on Wapos, but like, if we're being honest, Wapos are simply like they're being mouthpieces for white supremacy. Even though they're pushing their own agenda, they're actively pushing white supremacy along with that. And
Well,
I don't
what
think
it
it's
is,
addressed in our spaces.
it's they're it's what it is. You know I don't totally agree with you because like I don't believe that they're pushing. They are inadvertently pushing white supremacy, but they're trying to push their own racial supremacy. It's just that where they learn to be racial supremacists came from white supremacists, right? So like that ideology was originated by white supremacists. So whenever they take pages from the playbook, that's the only playbook they can take pages from, right? Because there really is no like there's no like foundational black thought leaders or philosophers that really believe in that sort of thing until you run into like Marcus Garvey, right? I guess you could kind of say W.E.B. Du Bois as well, but not as much as Garvey. Like Du Bois, he was a Pan Africanist, but he wasn't strictly a racial Pan Africanist. You know, he wanted to liberate all the people under colonial rule in Africa, right? Um, it's not all of them are black, of course, right? But Marcus Garvey was racially specific, only black people, right? And but Marcus Garvey, he wrote praisingly about colonialism. He basically made excuses for it and said, like, you know, like this is a necessary force for civilizing the uncivilized people of the global South, and he's including his own people and his own African descended people. He wasn't a Wab or anything. He was a Pan Africanist, and but like he saw the Western diaspora, African diaspora, like people in Jamaica, Haiti, United States, Brazil. He saw them as being more sophisticated because they grew up underneath European colonialism, so it made them more civilized. But now that they were civilized enough, and this is kind of like where him and Du Bois kind of agree a little bit. Like Du Bois used to have this thing called the what's it called it's called the exceptional tenth or the something tenth, like basically saying that like the 10% of the black population is of a exceptional tenth or something like that. They're exceptional, meaning they have a higher they have better education, they're more intelligent and intellectual, they're more educated, right? And it's their responsibility because whatever they had like the opportunities to learn while the others didn't. So like Du Bois thought is their responsibility to take that knowledge and sophistication and help disseminate it amongst their people, right? To get everybody up to their level. What was it called? The talented tenth is what they called them. The talented tenth, right? And so Garvey kind of believed in something like that too, except for he saw that as the Western diaspora, the African diaspora, and saw them as they need to go back to Africa and help civilize and develop the so-called uncivilized African people, right? So it's like it is rooted, and I guess it's rooted in white supremacist thought, but I wouldn't call it white supremacist in and of itself because it does have a racially exclusive agenda for who it wishes to benefit and at whose detriment. They see Marcus Garvey sees it as a power struggle between the white civilization and the black civilization, and then in order for the black civilization to rise up and get out of the position that they're in, they must in turn subjugate the white civilization. Like there can be no coexistence, you know.
Yeah. A lot was said there. I agree with what you said in response to what I had to say. Yeah, there's a lot said. I'm trying to address all the points that were made.
Sorry, not bad, bro. I do that sometimes.
It's all good. I was listening, but it was a very informative talk. You said it was the educated tenth?
They're called the talented tenth.
Talented tenth.
W.E.B. Du Bois. He was one of him and Garvey were like the two, like some of the first Pan-Africanists to write about it in America, in the United States, and he believed
Yeah.
in something called the talented tenth, which was he included himself and people like Garvey, like he's basically the intellectual, like the what's the word for it? Like the intelligentsia or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm familiar with the names. I've never really gotten too much into their theory, but that was really informative. Something new to me. I'm aware of sort of the history, but yeah, you opened it up a little bit more.
Yeah, him and Du Bois hated each other. They're like nemesis. They're always like writing
Yeah.
little op-eds about each other, talking shit. They were
Black folks could harm other BIPOC individuals, right? How there could be that lateral racism.
yeah. I mean, that whole redefinition of racism, like racism, the first uses of the word racism was like in the late 1800s, right? And that redefinition that we're talking about didn't arise until the 1970s, post after the civil rights movement. And
Yeah.
it started in a Chicago high school, I believe it was, or it might have been a college, where they started they started like soft launching that definition in an attempt to encourage yeah, baby, come here. They were trying to encourage like white students to do more and being not just being not racist, but being anti-racism. They wanted them to be more proactive about combating racism. They figured by eliminating this retort, by saying only white people can be racist, it puts the onus exclusively on white people to make an improvement, to make a change, and it alleviates people of color, specifically black people, of any culpability in the perpetuation of a racist society. So no person of color can be racist. Only white people can be racist, and that's why it's only white people's responsibility to fix racism. No one else is responsible for fixing it. But it had a complete, like, I don't know if that was the intended goal, then man, they had like the fucking polar opposite effect.
And this once again just proves how much of a white supremacist you are, Mateo. White people are the only ones that can be racist because they are the ones who created the concept of race. I've explained this already in a previous video. Racism is a system of hierarchy based on race. White people are on the top of that hierarchy globally. There is nowhere in the world where they can experience racism because the system was created for their benefit. You're trying to take away their culpability in the matter because you, yourself, are half white. You feel a sense of value in your white proximity. That's why you try to place blame on black people. Black people have no onus in fixing racism. We did not create it. Your logic is so flawed, it's ironic. No one even listens to black people when we point out societal issues, so please explain to me why you would start now. You think it's a coincidence that people tell their kids to stay away from black people? You think it's a coincidence that you immediately think of black people in relation to criminality? You think it's a coincidence that you find white people and Eurocentric features more attractive? Black people are on the bottom of a caste system that was created by your ancestors, Mateo. And this is ultimately why you are also a danger to the community you profess to be a part of. Bringing your white man ideology to an already colonized people is why the real native community has so much anti-blackness in it. You're a danger to them and the Mexican community. Keep your white supremacist rhetoric to yourself.
That it's hard to say who's higher or lower on the hierarchy. So it's just more. I feel like it's just more. It's better for like communicating the concept by just referring to it as all in one lateral like level, you know, on the hierarchy. Saca la mota. Saca la bolsita.
Yeah, it would be difficult to quantify like the levels of struggle there, and it's all very individualized. Like my struggle wouldn't be the same as yours, you know.
It's counterproductive to try to quantify it. That's what they want us to do, is to try to quantify each other's struggles, to keep score and decide who's more deserving of like recompense or whatever, you know. That way, if we're too busy arguing about who's first in line, we never accomplish the goal in the first place, you know. First in line for what, you know? First in line to wait, or do we have the bird in the hand's worth two in the bush? Do we have the bird in the hand, or are we still waiting, fighting over who gets to get the two birds in the bush, you know? Weird way of talking. I talk like Yoda or Jesus mixed together.
The force is with you, son.
Speaking parables, you know what I'm saying?
Lunar Bell is here now.
Yep.
My comrade.
Welcome, Lunar.
Hey, what's up? Explain the content that I was so opposed to. Ow.
So I made the claim that the Wobbles attacks on the indigenous community would be lateral violence, and you disagreed with that.
No, it's absolutely fucking not lateral violence. It's because that would mean that they were indigenous in the first place, and they're not. And that would assume that they were equal to where we are. And the way I feel is that I am like 100% for my people, and I understand history, but at the same time, we are not the same historically. I mean, 90% of us were genocided, and we have this influx of other people coming in, and that is fine because we have always integrated and we have always been okay with that because that's who we are. That's what Native people do. They take in other people. But when it comes to people being like erasurists, like that's not fucking okay ever. So it cannot be lateral violence against people who are actively trying to erase us. Would we say it is lateral violence against white people if white people who are actively genociding and colonizing us? Would that be the same thing? Is that lateral violence? It's just fucked up.
Well, the reason why they call it lateral violence is because, like, if you're it's like referring to a hierarchy of power, and like as far as the different like the different latitude, longitude, like the different level. If you go laterally, it's like going across. You're on the same lateral plane, right? So we are on the same lateral plane of oppression, or at least people say we are, with the descendants of the survivors of the slave trade and stuff like that.
We're
And
not, though. We're not.
yeah. You think we're below them, or
Yeah, I think we've had it way worse.
yeah? I mean, I can understand how someone can make that argument, but I just don't think it's productive to make that argument. Like I said.
Yeah, and I gotta disagree with the argument though, because the thing that makes it lateral is the fact that we both sit below white folks within this white supremacist pyramid. You know what I mean? It's our social standing that makes it lateral. Like you didn't really address that point.
Well,
In my
yeah, because
opinion.
it seems like she's saying that there's more levels than just oppressor and oppressed. There's like a more gradual, like what I'm saying, like gradation or whatever, or gradation. I mean, like it goes white tea, WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, capitalists, landowners, men at the top, and then below that is their wives and sisters, and then below that is like non-Protestants, like Catholics, and then below that is like Jewish, and then below that is Muslim, right? You know what I'm saying? And then that's just within the white world. You haven't even escaped white people yet. It's still in the white world, And then
Yeah.
then you go from that to the non-white world, and I understand that describing of multiple levels and not just putting everybody in one or the other level. But I mean that'd be, I think it's a more accurate way to describe the world. But for like rhetorical purposes, I don't think it's as effective for communicating.
Well, let's go down that train of thought for a minute. If we were dividing the world into that manner, right? Like, would a white Muslim engaging in ethnic cleansing type of rhetoric against a Christian white individual, would that be considered lateral violence?
I don't think
If we said,
I don't think it matters, because when you're talking about things as far as like Abrahamic religions, they do not apply to Native people. So it's null and void. Like, why do we care about that? Is what I'm asking.
No, he's just saying like he's like testing the like logic of it, right?
yeah, but it
Like
is valid.
I think you see that like in the Crusades and shit, or in like
Right.
Chechnya or something like that. I think that is a form of I think the ruling elites, or like the upper echelons of power, they do commit lateral violence against one another. They're constantly vying for power and who gets to take that top spot. And so, yeah, I would say that that's within that would be lateral violence. Yeah, it's just not the lower layers. It's the higher ones.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
But you know what? I'm about to get off right now, so it's a good time. I like having these kind of conversations, but no one ever watches these ones. There's only 7 people here.
No, they watch in the hallway.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later.
Peace.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Public, because you said that you sold them for $300 on the internet, so they're already a public image that you've been selling. Second, you sent them unsolicited, like a pervert. That's what perverts do, right? Send unsolicited graphic material to people's inboxes without their request, right? And then when that gets exposed, when your perverted DM diddling gets exposed, you use that as justification. Well, actually, before that ever even happened, before anything like that even occurred, you had already let Woken in your live to fucking dox Mono's whole family. So it wasn't like it was just some sort of a chance occurrence that happened unprovoked. No, you had already crossed the line and endangered people's families. You had already like put people's moms and dads and brothers and sisters' faces and phone numbers and names all over your platform for hours on end. Not a quick flash, for hours on end. So so the whole world, everyone that goes through your lame ass live can take a screenshot in case they want to go track down Mono and his family one day, right? Then you did the same thing to my baby. And we're supposed to feel sorry for you? You belong in a jail cell. You belong in a cage. That's where you belong. I'm not throwing no pity party for you. And this whole time, I've been telling Mono to have grace with you, have mercy for you, feel bad for you. It's not her fault. She has mental illness. There's people that are taking advantage of her. There's people that are exploiting her. There's people that are manipulating her to go down this path of self-destruction because they hate Mono so much and they're willing to sacrifice her as collateral damage. So, think about that, and maybe that's selfish of me because at that point it wasn't my family that was shown. And, I guess I can admit to that. Maybe that's selfish on my part, but I think there's another line that's crossed. Doxing someone's family is crossing a line, but doxing someone's baby, their fucking toddler, that's a line even lower, dude. That line's beneath the ground. That line's in fucking hell where you belong.
Yeah.
So all her little friends, all her little allies, her saviors, all the fucking Captain Savas that are fucking coming to her rescue to protect so-called Native women. Yeah, well, protect Native children first. All right? Protect them first. If you don't protect children, you ain't shit. You're the problem. Because before anything, who takes the biggest brunt of this system of YT supremacy? It's the children. Before we're men, before we're women, before we're two-spirit, we're children. And that's when we're the most vulnerable. That's when we're the most innocent. That's when we're the most like defenseless. And that's when we need the most defense. None of you fucking self-righteous hypocrites give a fuck about that. You just don't like Mono. And let's be honest, you don't give a fuck about women either. You don't. Because Mono's mother is a woman. His sister's a woman. And you don't give a fuck about them. You don't give a fuck about Cutie. She's just a lonely woman that likes to feel support. But then when the likes and engagement start to dwindle, you guys bounce. You get ghost real quick and she's sitting there with two people in her life fucking yelling at the fucking sky. No one listening. You guys don't give a fuck about her. Yeah, well, I could take the heat and I could give it back too. And I could press charge.
Let's learn what doxing is because you idiots love using words incorrectly. What is doxing? Doxing is the action of finding or publishing private information about someone on the internet without their permission. Taking photos that are already posted on the internet is not doxing, especially when it's photos you have posted yourself. None of your families were doxed. Stop trying to use that as an excuse for posting someone's nudes online. Mateo, you are not Native. Your kids are not Native. Your kids are whites. In fact, no one in Mono's circle is Native. All of you are pretendians. None of you are actually connected to any tribes. This is ultimately why the ones you called the toxic gatekeepers were calling you guys out, because you're making Native American people look bad and you're not even Native. You're online doing all these horrible things in the name of Native Americans. Actual Native Americans don't need this bullshit. You guys are just as bad as the other side. If you're trying to use DNA as some marker for being Native, then everyone can make that claim, including myself. But that's what happens when you get on TikTok. You get to claim to be anything you want.